here, and before bringing you guys the Fire Force episode 23 review, and before I get into the actual review itself, though, there are a couple things to mention. The first is that yes, I am aware that this and episode 24 have been released, but I'm gonna be doing these like pretty much one at a time because I pretty much know that if pretty much I end up doing both of them in one review, I'm definitely gonna get scrambled all over the place, that kind of thing. Even if I take down notes and whatnot. So yeah, I'm gonna do one now, and then I'm gonna do like pretty much the other one like pretty much later, pretty much later today, probably like after supper or something like that. Um, the other thing to notice, the other thing to take note of, I suppose, is to talk about the is to talk. The other thing to talk about, obviously, is the fact that Fire Force has been announced that is getting a season two, and I'm of two minds about this. On one hand, there is definitely enough material released for another season. Hell, maybe two more, so a third season as well. Depending, but a lot of that, mind you, is depending on how season two is paced. But I can understand the worry of it turning into another Soul Eater situation. But honestly, I definitely after this entire season is played out, while I do have issues with the way that David Productions has adapted it in certain areas, I definitely have a lot more faith in them that of what they're doing, and that David Productions is gonna adapt this one faithfully. How I can see this playing out right now actually is David Productions is probably gonna wait like about a year before making another season whether that's after season two or three. Um, Now, as far as my biggest personal concern, though, right now, is more the quality of the adaptation, because even though David Productions did an amazing job with the second half, it's no surprise the first half is where the anime has had the most issues, which of course, which I'm definitely going to get into a lot more detail about that in the last episode review. But yeah, as we know, what like which again with what happened there, we basically know what happened is for reasons like pretty much beyond like David Productions control. So, but yeah, I just hope, like honestly, I just hope next season will be a little closer in consistency to like the second half of this season. Honestly, like that's just the one thing I'm kind of hoping for right now. Um, and right out of the gate, right out of the gate, uh, I have to say, art and animation quality in this episode is once again insane. But again, it looks even better than last week, and that's something I've definitely noticed in this last handful of episodes. Is that each new episode like in the last like 5 or 6 weeks, each new episode gets in some ways better than the last. So if this episode was as good as it is, I can only imagine how amazing the last episode is going to look. Now, a large part of that could be they were using a little bit of footage for Shinra's memories, up a little bit of certain footage for Shinra's memories up to this point, but these were moments that were in the manga, so it gets a little bit of a pass here too. Um, but honestly, this is one of those episodes where even if I were to pick it apart on the technicals alone, it still wouldn't matter because there was this genuine somber yet uplifting atmosphere in the sense of how everything like that Shinra's done in the series has been building up to this exact moment of him basically facing Sho, and his attempt in order to get him back, only only for it to be taken away in an instant. And it's one of those things that's so frustrating because Shinru was so close. Like, Sho was right there. Like, he was right there, and Shinru managed to knock Sho out of his brainwashing. And yet, despite us knowing that the White-Clad wouldn't let it happen, there's still such an emotional weight to this defeat just in knowing, like, despite everything Shinra's done and the help from his comrades, it still all brought him right back to square one. In fact, honestly, in fact, just in the way that the basically first half of this episode played out, and how it played out from there, a major thing you could a major way you could kind of sum this episode up, and just the theme of it is small victories among a major defeat, because obviously with basically there were a lot of small things that company had accomplished with this with this episode, like gaining information on what the White-Clad is planning and what they've been doing, as well as Vulcan like pretty much finally regaining his family back, obviously. um but and just and so was Vulcan regaining his family back, but in the larger grand scheme of things, it was still like a pretty much defeat for pretty much Company 8. Even though Company 8 achieved a lot of smaller victories, that in the larger grand scheme of things, they still lost a major one, just in the fact that that pretty much show wasn't saved in itself. And I mean, they learned a lot, but it also cost them a lot as well. Um, now, 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 with that, we basically also get, now with knowing this, we also get the major reveal that the White-Clad's plan is to start another cataclysm with from the Adola bursts, which was pretty obvious at this point. But the thing to focus on with this reveal is when basically when Hameya says the cataclysm that happened 250 years ago was a dud. Like that one sentence, that one phrase she said, that in itself is pretty revealing, in the sense where it not only tells us the White-Clad as an organization has done this before and was responsible for what happened back then, but also that the creation of the Infernals and the fire powers given to humans was a completely unintentional after effect of them trying to repeat that of them trying to like pretty much do that of the last cataclysm, pretty much. And with them and what they're trying, and with them trying to repeat like that same cataclysm, is essentially just them finishing what they wanted to begin with, humanity's destruction. Like when the first cataclysm happened, like I said, the unintentional side effects were the creation of the Infernals and all that. I think from what that sounds, that's pretty much something even the White-Clad didn't pretty much plan for. But now it's something that they plan to correct by pretty much finishing what they started years ago. And and it wasn't, and even in the manga this wasn't made very clear, but I think if I'm understanding what the whole idea with the Adola bursts is that they plan to pretty much extract the pretty much from the people who possess it, and then use the Adola bursts in order to trigger the next cataclysm. I think that's what it is. Of course, one of the even bigger reveals is another big reveal in that is that after everything is said and done, Captain Burns ends up visiting Shinra, and he reveals everything he knew in terms of the fire 12 years ago. And yeah, for as harsh as it may be, everything we know, as harsh as it may be, Burns was kind of right in order to keep this from Shinra, because everything we know of Shinra up to this point kind of proves Burns wasn't wrong in keeping this from him. Because if Shinra had learned the truth like pretty much 12 years ago, he definitely would have gone after the White-Clad and Show. At the time, he would have surely died or been captured. But because he's now got the training and control of his powers, this proves he's now at least better prepared in order to not only survive against the White-Clad's attempts to capture him, but also he has the ability to actually save Sho now. and it plays into the idea that you can't save anyone if you lack the will and ability to do so. Like if Shinra had gone after them all those years ago, he wouldn't have survived. He would have just been like captured, killed, whatever on the spot. But because he has the training now, he basically he can achieve this now. And I'm sure Burns has a lot more in order to tell us as well. um, we also get the official introduction to Fire Force Company 6 in this episode, which if you were to compare it to Bleach is like the Squad 4 of the Fire Force universe, a unit that specializes in medical treatment. And with that, we also get introduced to basically Captain Huang. And in terms of her introduction, it's actually quite a bit different from the manga. In the manga, she was introduced through pretty much fighting an infernal, and then later appeared like preparing to treat Shinra's wounds. But here in the anime, they pretty much skipped over that part and just cut straight to the hospital, which, to be fair, I guess isn't a major change, but it does cut down a little bit of the urgency of the situation. Like with Captain Huang, like elsewhere, and Shinra like just waiting to be prepped for surgery and whatnot. It does kind of it does lessen a little bit of that urgency, but I can I can I can I guess I can kind of understand why they cut it out. Although one thing, but it doesn't help either that they also cut out a scene of Licht like when you're playing emergency treatment as well. So yeah, it could have been better, but I think that they could have maybe kept at least the scene of Licht applying emergency treatment to him. But yeah, I think there was an error there where yeah it didn't feel as urgent, I guess you could say. um, although I will admit, one thing I do kind of appreciate them cutting out though, was that whole comedic sequence of Company 8 like busting into the operating room and Arthur attempting to revive Shinra himself. I always felt that was just stupid, and even if it was to lighten the mood, it just kind of felt a little out of place. So I am kind of glad that they at least cut that out. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and on Mr. Crunchyroll. Dead Knight and me, signing off. Later, guys.